When I was younger, I thought school prepared you for everything. Math, science, even a little bit of economics. But then I got older and realized the stuff that actually builds wealth, the habits that rich people live by every single day, yeah, nobody teaches you that in a classroom. Not once. It hit me hardest when I started working my first real job. I knew how to write essays and solve equations, but I had no clue about things like building networks, using money as a tool, or even how to think long-term about opportunities. Meanwhile, I'd see wealthy people operating on a totally different level, almost like they were playing a game that the rest of us never even knew existed. And here's the kicker. These habits aren't flashy or complicated. They're actually really simple, but they're invisible if you're not looking for them. The truth is, the gap between being stuck and being wealthy isn't always about luck or talent. It's about the daily practices that nobody bothers to teach you. In this video, I'm going to pull back the curtain on 7 of those habits. Things that rich people do behind the scenes every day that quietly stack the odds in their favor. And once you see them, you can start practicing them too. No fancy degree required. So stick with me, because by the end, you'll start noticing these habits everywhere. And you'll realize you don't have to stay on the school script to win at life. Habit number 1. Rich people value their time like money. One of the first things that separates wealthy people from everyone else is how they treat time. For most people, time feels free. If you waste an hour scrolling on your phone, no big deal, right? But rich people, they see every hour as an investment. They literally treat their time as if it were cash. Think about it. If your time is worth $50 an hour and you spend 2 hours fixing something around the house instead of paying someone $30 to do it, you actually lost money. Rich people get this. They outsource the small stuff so they can focus on high-value activities, building businesses, networking, strategizing, or even just recharging their brain for better decision-making. I learned this the hard way. There was a time I'd say yes to everything. Favors, errands, endless meetings. I thought being busy was the same as being productive. But at the end of the week, I'd be exhausted and my goals hadn't moved forward at all. Once I started asking myself, is this the best use of my time right now? My whole mindset shifted. The school system never teaches this. In school, your time is scheduled for you, and everyone's time is treated as equal. In the real world, the value of your time depends on how you use it. Rich people know this instinctively. That's why they guard their calendars, set boundaries, and spend their time where it brings the highest return. If you want to adopt this habit, start small. Track where your hours go for a week. Be brutally honest. Then ask, what's wasting your time? What could you delegate, automate, or just cut out? The moment you start treating your time like money, you'll stop wasting it like it's free. Habit number 2. Rich people think in decades, not days. Another habit you'll almost never see taught in school is long-term thinking. In school, everything is short-term. Weekly quizzes, semester grades, immediate results. But rich people, they operate on a completely different timeline. They're playing the decade-long game while most people are chasing daily wins. Take investing as an example. The average person freaks out when their stocks dip in a single week. A wealthy investor shrugs it off because they're thinking about where those investments will be 10, 20, or even 30 years from now. This mindset alone changes everything. It turns panic into patience and small daily actions into massive long-term rewards. I once heard a billionaire say, if you wouldn't hold a stock for 10 years, don't even think about holding it for 10 minutes. That kind of patience is foreign to most people. But it's the secret sauce behind compounding wealth. And it's not just about money. Rich people think long-term about relationships, health, and skills too. While most people are looking for instant gratification, a quick promotion, a flashy car, or fast results, the wealthy are quietly planting seeds that will pay off years later. They'll spend months building a relationship that might lead to an opportunity 5 years down the road. They'll learn skills today that may not pay off until much later. I'll give you a personal example. Years ago, I spent hours writing online for free. No paycheck, no applause. It felt pointless at times. But over the years, those skills snowballed. And today, they open doors I never could have predicted back then. That's long-term thinking at work. Here's the takeaway. Stop asking, what can I get this week? And start asking, what will this look like in 5 or 10 years if I stick with it? Rich people think in decades, not days. And that mindset alone is something school never prepares you for. Habit number 3. Rich people build networks, not just contacts. School tells us to focus on grades, credentials, and individual performance. But in the real world, wealth often comes from who you know and, more importantly, how strong those relationships are. Rich people understand that opportunities don't just come from talent, they come from people. Here's the difference. Most people treat networking like collecting business cards or adding followers on LinkedIn. Rich people treat it like cultivating real connections. They don't just meet someone once and forget about them. They invest in the relationship, follow up, add value, and stay in touch. Over time, that web of trust turns into a powerful safety net and opportunity machine. Think of it like a garden. You don't just scatter seeds once and walk away. You water, nurture, and protect them until they bloom. That's how the wealthy treat their networks, as living systems that need time and care. I'll never forget when a friend of mine landed his dream job, not because he was the most qualified candidate, but because he had built a genuine friendship with someone at the company years earlier. That one relationship opened the door, and it wouldn't have happened if he'd only focused on grades and resume building. This habit isn't taught in school, because school measures you as an individual, your GPA, your test scores, your rank. Collaboration is often seen as cheating, but in real life, collaboration is the whole game. Rich people know that money flows through relationships, partnerships, mentors, investors, clients, even friends. If you want to adopt this habit, shift your mindset from what can I get to how can I help? Show genuine curiosity, add value, and stay consistent. Over time, you'll realize your net worth really does grow alongside your network. Habit number 4. Rich people make money work for them. Here's one of the most important but invisible habits. The wealthy don't just work for money, they make money work for them. School trains us to think in terms of trading hours for dollars. Get a job, earn a paycheck, repeat. But the rich flip that script. They use their money to earn more money, even while they sleep. It might be through investing in stocks, real estate, businesses, or other assets that generate cash flow. The key is that their income isn't tied only to their time. That's how they escape the cycle most people are stuck in, because there are only so many hours in a day, but money, once invested wisely, can multiply on its own. I saw this up close when a former coworker of mine bought a rental property years ago. At the time, we all thought he was crazy for taking on that risk. Fast forward, while we were grinding overtime hours, his property was not only paying for itself through rent, but also appreciating in value. He had literally created a second income stream that required far less effort than our full-time jobs. And this habit doesn't require millions of dollars to start. Even a small amount invested consistently can snowball over time. The difference is the mindset. Instead of asking, how can I earn more? Rich people ask, how can I make my money earn more? School never teaches this. In fact, it often discourages risk-taking and tells us to play it safe with jobs and savings accounts. But saving alone won't make you wealthy. Putting your money to work will. If you want to build this habit, start by shifting just a small part of your income toward investments, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. That simple act of making money work for you is the first step toward financial freedom. Habit number 5. Rich people obsess over learning outside the classroom. School makes learning feel like something that stops once you graduate. You take your exams, get your diploma, and you're done. But wealthy people see learning as a lifelong habit, not just for survival, but for growth. The difference is in what they learn. Instead of memorizing formulas or historical dates, they focus on money, psychology, human behavior, leadership, and emerging opportunities. They read biographies of other successful people, study markets, attend conferences, hire mentors, and surround themselves with people who challenge their thinking. I once met someone who was already financially comfortable, but he still read at least one book a week. When I asked why, he said, because the moment I stopped learning, I stopped seeing opportunities. That stuck with me. Meanwhile, I knew classmates who stopped reading entirely after school because they thought learning was only for exams. Think of it this way. The world changes fast. Technology, markets, industries, everything evolves. The people who stay stuck with just what they learned in school eventually fall behind. The ones who keep learning, adapt, and thrive. That's why you'll often see wealthy people talking about books they've read, courses they've taken, or mentors they've sought out. The key isn't consuming random information, though. It's intentional. They learn things that directly impact their mindset, decisions, and wealth building. It's like they're always sharpening their saw, so when it's time to cut, they're ready. If you want to adopt this habit, commit to becoming a student of life again. Read 20 pages a day. Listen to podcasts on money or psychology during your commute. Ask smarter people questions instead of pretending you know it all. Over time, you'll notice your perspective shifts, and with it, your results. Habit number 6. Rich people take calculated risks. School often punishes mistakes. You get graded down for being wrong, so you learn to play it safe. But in the real world, the wealthy succeed because they're willing to take risks. Not reckless gambles, but calculated risks where the upside outweighs the downside. Here's the key difference. Most people avoid risk altogether. They're afraid of losing, so they never even try. Rich people, on the other hand, ask, what's the worst that could happen? Can I survive it? And what's the potential upside if I succeed? I remember a mentor once told me, your life is shaped by the risks you're willing to take. At the time, I didn't fully get it, but looking back, every major opportunity in my life came from a moment where I stepped into uncertainty, starting a side hustle, investing when I wasn't sure, saying yes to something I didn't feel fully ready for. Each risk didn't always pay off immediately, but they stacked into bigger wins over time. Wealthy people are experts at this. They don't just throw money around blindly. They research, test small, and then scale what works. That's how they build businesses, invest in markets, or back new ideas, while others sit on the sidelines waiting for guarantees that never come. Think of risk like crossing a river on stepping stones. Most people stay on the shore because they're afraid of slipping. Rich people, they plan their steps, maybe get a little wet, but eventually make it across. And once they're on the other side, the rewards are waiting. If you want to build this habit, start small. Take risks where the downside is limited, but the upside is meaningful, like starting a small online business, investing a small percentage of your income, or trying a skill outside your comfort zone. Over time, your tolerance for uncertainty grows, and so does your wealth. Habit number 7. Rich people value time more than money. One of the biggest mindset shifts wealthy people make is realizing that money is renewable, but time isn't. You can always make another dollar, but you'll never get back an hour you wasted. Most people think the opposite. They'll spend hours hunting for a coupon to save $5, but won't invest that same time into learning a skill that could make them thousands. Rich people treat their time like their most valuable asset. They ask, is this the best use of my time, or can I delegate it, automate it, or eliminate it? That's why they pay for convenience, hiring someone to clean their house, using delivery services, or outsourcing work. At first, that might sound like luxury or laziness, but it's not. It's strategy. Because while someone else is folding laundry, they're using those hours to brainstorm business ideas, close deals, or spend intentional time with family. I'll give you an example. I knew someone who refused to hire a bookkeeper because they thought, why waste money? I can do it myself. But they'd spend 10 hours every month struggling with spreadsheets. That's 120 hours a year. Imagine if those 120 hours were spent improving their business or learning a high-value skill. The wealthy don't see it as an expense, they see it as buying their time back to focus on what actually multiplies their wealth. And it's not just about work. Rich people also invest their time into relationships, health, and experiences. They know money can buy comfort, but time spent with loved ones or building memories, that's priceless. Ironically, this habit makes them even wealthier because they stay energized, inspired, and focused on what truly matters. If you want to apply this habit, start by auditing your week. Where are you trading hours for pennies? What's stealing your time without giving real value back? Then ask yourself, how can I reclaim even just 5 hours a week and redirect it towards something that compounds, whether it's learning, building, or connecting? Over months and years, that simple shift changes everything. And there you have it, just 2 powerful habits that the rich live by every single day. Simple, right? But remember, simple doesn't mean easy, it means consistent. The difference between staying stuck and building wealth is in applying these little shifts daily until they compound into something life-changing. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these two habits are you going to start practicing first? Drop your answer in the comments. I actually read them, and your insight could inspire someone else too. If this video gave you even a moment, do me a favor, hit that like button because it tells the algorithm this content matters. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. It might just change their perspective. And of course, if you want more videos breaking down the habits and strategies that schools never teach you, but the wealthy live by, subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you won't miss the next deep dive. Thanks for watching, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.